Well, sadly, just as Saddleback Kids decided to gloss over the Ten Commandments in their entirety, they then also decided to skip over the remainder of Moses' life, thus skipping Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Personally, I can't imagine why they'd want to gloss over all the horrific laws passed down in Leviticus, the God-ordered 40-year roaming period in Numbers, or the 23 chapters of Ten Commandment restating in Deuteronomy. While I would also happily skip most of it as boring and insignificant, Leviticus is almost certainly skipped because it's an entire book of the Bible devoted almost solely to Stone Age torture porn. Either way, with 3.5 of the first 5 books of the Bible skipped, we find ourselves in Joshua. So without further ado, let's see what's up with him.
The Faithful Hall of Fame, Joshua. This is Joshua. Joshua was an Israelite who followed Moses through the wilderness.
1, 2, 3, here we go.
Okay, so if nothing else, after skipping 3 books of the Bible, we know we're at least still in the same continuity.
Oh, yeah.
Joshua learned from Moses as Moses led the Israelites through the Red Sea. And as Moses taught the people about God's law.
Oh, yeah. I see. Everyone, listen up.
One day, Moses was talking to the Israelites. He was reminding them of the law and all that God had done for them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and assume that this is referring to almost the entirety of Deuteronomy. Get comfortable, Joshua, you're gonna be listening for a while.
Now, see here, all you.
When Moses had finished giving instructions to the people, he said, "I am no longer able to lead you.
Hold on.
Do not be afraid, for God will neither fail you nor abandon you."
Yeah.
Then Moses called Joshua
Me?
and told him to be strong and courageous, for he would lead the Israelites into the promised land.
The promised land that Moses was not allowed to enter anymore because he pissed off God by hitting a rock with his staff.
See?
Then Moses died. To this day, no one knows exactly where he was buried.
Because he didn't exist.
The people and all of Israel mourned. The people of Israel looked to Joshua to lead them, as Moses had told them.
There he is. Yeah.
God told Joshua to be strong and courageous, for he would be with Joshua wherever he went. He told him to remember what Moses had told him and to study the book of instruction.
Instructions that were apparently not important enough to tell the kids about.
God told Joshua that it was time to lead the people of Israel across the Jordan River and into the Promised Land.
Okay, here we are.
Joshua told the Israelite officials to go throughout the camp.
Get out there.
They instructed everyone to pack up and get ready to head out.
Come on.
Joshua told the Israelites they were going to cross the Jordan River.
See here. This is what we're going to do, okay?
And so, Joshua prepared to lead his people as the Lord had commanded.
Wow, that was a short, inconsequential video. For a quick recap, Moses died, and now God has essentially anointed Joshua as New Moses. Next.
The Faithful Hall of Fame, Rahab. This is Rahab.
Because apparently Joshua wasn't interesting enough to be the subject of his own book, despite Moses having 4 of them.
Rahab lived in the town of Jericho in the Promised Land. Rahab was not an Israelite, and she made bad choices.
She was a prostitute.
But God had a plan for Rahab, even though she was a sinner. Now God told his people, the Israelites,
Hey, that's us.
to go into the Promised Land. So Joshua sent 2 spies to search the land around the city of Jericho. The 2 spies came to Rahab's house to stay the night.
What charming characters.
But the king of Jericho heard that there were spies in his city, so he sent orders for Rahab to bring them out.
Notice how, in general, the people who are native to the land of Jericho are consistently painted in a negative light because God decided that they were the villains of the story, despite the Israelites being the ones to soon waltz in and claim that land as theirs, despite it being already occupied.
But Rahab hid the spies and told the king's men that it was true that the men were at her house, but she did not know where they were now.
I don't know.
She told the king's men to go quickly to find the spies because they could not have gone far.
Oh no!
Oh, right.
So the king's men rushed out to the city in pursuit of the Israelite spies.
Now you'd think that in the actual full story, they probably would have already given some sort of justification for Rahab hiding the foreign spies, but it doesn't. Not one word of why she would have hidden the 2 men until after it already happens.
All the while, the Israelites hid on Rahab's roof. So Rahab went to them and said, "I know the Lord has given you this land. We have heard of the great acts that God has done for you. Your God is the God of all the heavens and the earth."
What great acts could they have possibly heard about? Parting the Red Sea? The only people who saw that were the Israelites and the Egyptians. The Israelites have been wandering in the desert for 40 years, and all of the Egyptians that saw the parting of the Red Sea died in it. So what other great works could she have possibly heard about? According to the actual book, she supposedly had heard about the Red Sea, as well as, quote, "what you did to the 2 kings of the Amorites," which is likely referring back to a sequence in the book of Numbers where the Israelites come across a kingdom and completely destroy it, apparently leaving no fighting men alive and then taking their land. Maybe she heard about this, but it certainly doesn't sound like a great act, more like an act of terrorism with horrible unjustified violence.
"So please swear to me that you will be kind to my family." The spies agreed to this, and Rahab helped them escape from the city. Before they left, they told Rahab to tie a scarlet rope to the window.
Yeah!
Wow.
Oops!
This rope would serve as a mark for Rahab's house and would remind the Israelites of their promise to her.
To murder everybody except for the people in that house.
Thank you!
Oh, thank you.
And so the spies were on their way. For 3 days, they hid from the king's men who were looking for them. Finally, they returned to Joshua and told them all they had seen. Rahab was remembered for her faithfulness, for she had given a friendly welcome to the spies and put her trust in the one true God.
If anything, Rahab put her trust in the fact that the group who sent out those spies was a group that had absolutely no quarrels wiping out entire kingdoms, and that her only chance of survival was in ensuring her own life by assisting them. Anyway, that's going to be the end of this video. Next video will likely get into the part where the Israelites sweep in like a plague, killing men, women, and children alike because they're all convinced that they have the divine right to do so. But until then, be sure to leave a like and a comment down below telling me what else you'd like to see me cover in the future. If you want to join my new Discord server where you can suggest topics directly to me as well as speak with other members of the community, the link for it will be in the description down below. Thank you all very much for watching, and as always, have a blessed day, fellow heathens.